The United Nations Secretary-General has sent a stark warning to world leaders as a major climate change conference begins in Spain.
Antonio Guterres has called international efforts to stop climate change utterly inadequate as the 2 weeks of talks begin. Hannah Thomas-Peter is there.
Sparing no feelings at all as heads of state and delegates converge on this city. Representatives from nearly 200 nations, 25,000 delegates expected. It's been a bit of a bumpy start. This was supposed to be held, this big annual UN climate change conference was originally supposed to be in Brazil. Brazil pulled out, it moved to Chile, Chile pulled out. Madrid's had some 5 weeks to get this ready. And so everybody's scrambling to make it work. And there is quite a lot of work to do, despite the high ambition, the stark warnings from Antonio Guterres, who said that the decisions that are going to be made here at this conference will help determine whether the world chooses a path of hope and surrender. There is the difficulties of collective action facing everybody who's come to Madrid, and they've got to iron out two particularly thorny problems that have been causing issues for years. The first is trying to agree a global set of rules on a price on carbon, and separately they also have to agree, as part of ironing out the final wrinkles of the Paris Agreement, how to compensate poorer countries for any loss or damage they may have faced associated with climate change, this issue of climate injustice, those most vulnerable countries being the most vulnerable to climate change despite bearing much less responsibility for it, is a really central issue for Madrid. They're trying to work out those two things. That's not going to be easy. And of course, you've got a backdrop of all these increasingly alarming warnings from scientists about the massive gap between what governments are planning to do to hit their Paris agreements to limit global warming and what actually needs to be done.